10:49 on the News and Talk of San Antonio, 550 KTSA. Gang of Four is on the radio. We do this every Friday with an ever-changing lineup of people. They never know who they'll be on with. They never know what they'll be talking about. And today it's Jay Tope, Nikki Young, and Jimmy Parks. And this week City Council is trying to get tougher with downtown panhandlers. The idea being that when you're driving in Loopland and there's somebody with a sign at an intersection, you can just roll up your window or look the other way. But when people are coming out of downtown condos, apartments, office buildings, they say in some cases they're being chased by or threatened by people who want money. They're trying to make it so that you can't get to within a certain distance of a bank entrance, an ATM, a parking meter. Is this going to work, and is this really a big problem downtown?
It's happened to me. You said the chased part? I was actually chased in a parking lot. I was at a major...
Doesn't that happen to you everywhere you go, Nikki? I just thought.
It might have been Urban King.
That's right. I was at a local major retailer, major retailer, and they were literally by my car waiting, and I was like, okay, this is really unnerving and unsettling. And they go on their spiel, which I want to be able to be engaged, and I want to be able... It's not like I don't have a heart, but it's like I just need to go in and come out. Okay. And I really feel uncomfortable. And how do you handle that? Is it going to work? I have to say, I hope it does in some areas. I don't want to say like panhandlers can only be in a certain radius or whatever, and they know that's what they're talking about. It's such a very difficult situation because you don't want to, not have a heart, right? Yeah. I don't know how you handle those things because I know you have to separate.
Jimmy, your office is downtown, right?
Well, mine's downtown, and I'm actually the one who's guilty of promoting it. I hate to say this over the air, but I have it in my religion, and I take it pretty seriously. I'm supposed to give to whoever asks, so I give to everyone that asks me. I mean, they actually come to certain corners where they know I'm going to stop. I'm not kidding you. Where I stop at a red light.
Yeah,
they only see. That's why I hate to say that over the air. So I do that. Now I don't get confronted with them on foot. The only time that's happened is in New Orleans, down in Bourbon Street.
Okay, but Jimmy, what about that organization? Okay, they're being investigated right now, and I can't think of the name. Jack, you probably know the name, but it says
New Hope or something.
Yeah, that they have been taking advantage of people since 1972. Is that like their slogan?
Look, I
don't like to hear that you may have been taken advantage of.
No, I may be taken advantage of, but it's not up to me to determine what somebody's going to do with the money.
Understand.
People tell me, oh, well, they're going to go buy drugs and they're going to buy alcohol. And look, this is my deal. If God is sending somebody into my life that's going to take the money and do something bad with it, well, then shame on God. I mean, we're going to have, when I get to heaven, if there's a chance, I'm going to say, look, man, you shouldn't have tricked me. If the guy comes to the window, I figure it's a fair deal. I don't know if he's going to do drugs or if he needs food, so I just give him money. That's it.
Do you have to factor in, though, that we're a tourism city, and we all need downtown, whether we ever go downtown, we need downtown to be a safe, attractive place for visitors. Don't you have to have some rules, some policy about where people can, how far people can go in getting money and where they can get it?
That's the key, how far they can go.
I mean, so even if I am as moved as you are to help people, Jimmy, thinking in the big picture, I don't want this stuff happening to Nikki, and I don't want it to happen to Nikki if she's visiting from Des Moines, and she goes and tells everybody, oh, it's a terrible, scary city. Wait till you hear what happened, right?
Yeah, well, see, I would agree with you in situations to where, if they're on street corners and the like, if they're walking down the sidewalk, that can be intimidating, especially for females and tourists and the like.
That's what I'm talking about. I would be chased. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that's a horrible situation. I'm not diminishing the fear that would occur and the intimidation that would occur in a circumstance like that. All I'm saying is, look, I don't care what organization says they help people. Look, maybe I'm doing it. My dad used to say, you're just doing that out of guilt. You're trying to buy your way into heaven. Well, I don't know what the reason is. It's just I've got the money. I praise the Lord. I thank Him for the money. And I'm going to give it away. So if people come up to me, I just say, okay, this is maybe the whole reason why I have a few bucks in my pocket is to make sure this guy has some money to go buy heroin.
Okay, but this is how I've been able to change my thought process. Like I said, I don't want to come out that I don't have a heart because I do give, and people know me to do that. No, I am not.
Interested in buying clothing and getting into her car.
But I've gone and I've bought gift certificates for McDonald's and Taco Cabana, and I have them in my car. so that if someone comes up, if they really want food, I'm going to give them a gift certificate.
Wow.
And if
Yeah.
they really take it, then I know. If they're like, oh no, then that answers my question.
I
There
love
are
you even
people-
more. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, you can get like dollar gift books, especially now during this time of year. They have like a book of like $1 free tacos. I go and buy those, and that's how I know that if they really want it.
Okay, here's a good story. I go into there's a guy in a wheelchair, and he's begging out in front of Chick-fil-A over there in front of Target at 1604 in Blanco, right? So I see the guy and I think, well, that guy could use a meal. So I go in and I buy food for him. I get all kinds of stuff and I bring it back out just like Nikki did. And I guarantee you, he was irritated that I brought the food out to him.
And that's
Yeah,
what
he
we
wants
have to
to
stop.
How could you tell he
That's
was
what we
irritated?
have to
Just
stop.
He wanted the crispy instead of the grilled.
it's my job to kind of read. I look at him, I say, look, sir, maybe he
I'm
wasn't
allergic to
irritated.
pickles.
I got the feeling that it irritated him that I didn't give him cash.
Oh.
He wasn't like, okay, let me say that. He wasn't real thankful. He wasn't real appreciative. He just looked at it like, oh, yeah, great job.
And that's what we have to stop. And that's why we have to change that, because you're right, Jack. We're a tourism town, and we don't want people to think that people can't come here and not enjoy the town.
George Block, who runs Haven for Hope, was on our show, and he said actually the most effective way of curbing it is to not give them money, because they will move on to a place where they can get it.
Another
That's
city,
when I
you
say
mean?
I'm
Yeah,
pro.
or another place, just another place.
Or-
They'll if they're not getting money, they will stop working that sidewalk, that neighborhood.
Or you could do what
whatever.
Boston did a couple years back, where they just bust everybody a one-way ticket to Tucson, Arizona, and they bust their homeless there. They just gave everybody one-way ticket to Tucson. And
What? Are you
Serious.
kidding?
Swear to God, when I was living in Tucson, they found all these homeless.
That's how
people.
Jay got there.
Yeah, exactly. That's they had found all these homeless people, and they all had one-way tickets that had come from Boston, and turned out that there were people there in Boston that.
Why were they in leg irons?
No, I don't know. You'll have to ask somebody else.
Why Tucson?
Yeah.
Because it's a warm city. Because they were thinking.
Did cities bid on this? Or like, yay! We won the Boston Homelessness Award. Yes! Didn't get the Olympics or that political convention we wanted. But, Mr. Mayor, I do have good news.
Yes.
All right, more Gang of Four coming up. It's 10:56 on 550 KTSA. Karen Klaus, say good morning to our Gang of Four. Gang, say good morning to our news goddess.
Hey, Karen.
Karen Klaus in there.
Love you.
Jay loves you.
It's
Yes.
nice.
So stay in
nice
there.
to see you outside of Facebook.
Yes.
We're all going to remember daylight savings time this weekend, right? Got that?
Right.
All right.
Sunday.
This is kind of. By the way, has the staff returned from the? I don't see anybody. This is some kind of breakfast. It started at 9 o'clock. I'm hoping it was a breakfast.
See
You know?
Don and I see
Nobody's here by noon. I'm going to think it maybe was it might have been a restructuring. But
Or
any word on our awards?
Good.
Got a nice place on the mantle. I'm ready. I'd even like to just know I was runner-up. All right, so this is a little disgusting, Karen. I got to tell you. A guy goes to the drive-through at an RBC bank in Palm Coast, Florida, and he apparently was told he couldn't purchase a money order at the drive-through or something. He couldn't do the transaction he wanted to do. And everybody's angry at banks these days, right? So what he decides to do, and we do not recommend this, he takes that plastic
The tube?
tube and urinates in it.
Yeah, why don't you recommend that?
Well, for one thing, Jimmy, you've got to be super careful or you'll get it on the car seat.
Yeah, I was like, it's like, oh yeah, like you have not tried that. Come on.
Now, when I read the story, I thought he put it through, he sent it.
He sent it back.
No. He just left it there.
What?
Oh, my God.
Guess what happened when the next customer
Oh,
pulled into that thing?
Oh my gosh.
Be very careful.
So, I mean, if that's how your day starts, you take the tube out of the thing and,
And you.
yeah, let's just say you're skipping the employee breakfast that morning. You're not going.
Yeah.
All right, raise your hand, Gang of Four, if you would have known that story was from Florida without me telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, sometimes, you know what I mean? That detail almost spoke for itself, didn't it?
Gosh.
All right, on our Gang of Four today, as we kick around the stories of the day and the week, we have Jay Tope from sasports.com and Radio San Antonio. In fact, he is not even really here. He's a virtual hologram of a person. Everything he does is digital and online and very cool.
I am the Max Headroom of
You are.
this decade.
You're the most futuristic guy we know. Probably came in a like a backpack, rocket pack or something, right? When you arrived at the radio station. All right, Nikki Young is here from PrimaDonna Productions, where she is the PrimaDonna.
PrimaDonna.
And Jimmy Parks Jr. is a criminal defense attorney and generous man. If you see him on the streets downtown, even if you are not homeless, hit him up for some money.
But just don't take a check.
Jimmy, I got to ask. I know you got to be careful talking about judges in your line of work. This video of this judge down in the Rockport area is a horrible thing.
Oh, I know. And I do have to be diplomatic. I may be before him, and it could really cost my client.
Could he really continue as a
He's,
judge? I
an
mean,
idiot.
now that this has come out, I mean, he's a family judge. Can he continue?
Well, I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think that based upon what we've seen, Jack, that he should have been a judge in the first place.
Probably not.
But there are a lot of judges like that. There are some great people who are judges, but I've never understood the thought process. It frightens me to even think that you're going to wake up and your entire day is going to be making decisions of great magnitude in people's lives, knowing very little about the situation, knowing just a microcosm of the situation itself. And so I think for that kind of judge, you need something just above the mentally ill. You need something that's a little more serious, something that has more prudence, something more objective. And this guy just doesn't have it. He looks dangerous.
Well, but this happened when the girl was 16. She's now 23. She uploaded the video. She had set up her webcam. So how long had this been happening, and why now? Why did she...
She says that they had an argument about his continued support of her, and he dared her to upload it, so she did.
Dare if you dare.
There's a lot to dislike here, including her behavior with this, using this video as part of a dispute, and why wait all this time if you really think there's something unjust about it. Also, I'm a little bothered by the whole business of they can't prosecute him because it happened 7 years ago and the statute of limitations is 5 years.
Right?
If a kid is being abused, whether you regard this as abuse or not, I do, 5 years might be not nearly enough time for that child to get old enough to tell or be believed or get out of the house. Or shouldn't that be extended beyond 5 years?
Check, either that case or what you just said will change the law. And I'm not being facetious. What the legislature has done routinely in cases like this is they have extended the statute of limitations. They've done it in the sexual abuse cases. It went from your regular 5 years in the sexual abuse category up to 5 years beyond a young child turning 18, up into 10 years beyond the time they turn 18, up until now a lifetime. In other words, no statute of limitations. So they've increased it in the sexual abuse area. And these kinds of cases are the kinds of cases that do make new law. The public outrage over this, over not being able to at least consider prosecuting him for that behavior and probably continual behavior over that time, would put him in a position to where he may be the poster child for a change in the statute of limitations, just what you said. But let's go back just one step. Remember, we're talking about this video. Nikki makes a good point of bringing this video forward. But the video is exemplary of a lifestyle and conduct that was occurring over a period of time. So if we believe what we see in the video, why would we not believe this young lady when she says, well, maybe the statute hadn't run because he did this successively over the course of the next 3 or 4 years. So if she were to come to me as a prosecutor detective and say, look, I want you to look at the video as an example, but that wasn't an exclusive example. This occurred often until I turned 17 or 18 and moved out of the house. And so within that statute of limitations, I can testify that he did this routinely because people don't act like that in an aberrant situation. It's usually something like you've talked about that's pent up. It's their nature. They don't understand discipline. They're using it to take out their frustration on the child. She says it happened before and after. I believe it happened before and after, and I believe you can make a case to prosecute him.
Jay, you're a dad, you're a parent. He used the word discipline in referring to this incident, but
Right.
to me, this is a million miles away from discipline,
I
because
agree.
discipline implies you're under control and you are controlling the child. There was no control here.
There was nothing under control about what was going on in that video. It was, I watched it. I didn't want to watch it when I heard what it was, but the curiosity got the best of me, and boy, that just made me sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
Having one, lost a child, and two, had a child that's obviously has a lot of health issues. I can't even fathom. I get upset and I'm almost to tears just when I have to, yell at my kid. And so for that to happen. It made me physically ill to watch that video.
And because it was about downloading music. I mean, that's why he did it. She said it was because she got in trouble for downloading music. What? Really?
It wasn't like she killed a dog or she
Or your wife talking back to you. Now I can understand that.
What's with the wife saying?
Okay, I
you
was
need
joking,
to take
honey.
it like a grown woman. The wife says on the tape, you need to take it like a grown woman.
Well, that's because
What is that?
That's because she's been taking it like a grown woman. I bet that guy's been kicking her butt for years.
That was
She's
Jimmy
been taking the
Parks
belt.
Jr.
So yours? Oh my God.
She has
For
been.
the record.
I
Yeah.
guarantee you, she's been taking that belt the same way her daughter has, and that's why she said turn over, and she gives her one whack on the butt. She's trying to kind of supplant him. She's trying to make the daughter believe that she can get the husband placated, settle down, and get him out of the room by just her one swipe. I think that lady's scared to death. Don't you? I mean, she doesn't look like she's
I couldn't make
A
heads.
witch?
That's possible. I couldn't make heads or tails of it. I really couldn't. We had a guy call this morning and say, he knows this man and he's actually a good person and he's a good judge. And I don't know if any of that is true or not. All we have to go on is that incident. That incident looks like abuse to me. It could be that in other areas of his life he's a good person, but in that incident, I don't see any other way to spin that, analyze it, any way you could filter it.
Joan Crawford was a good person.
Yeah, there are a lot of people.
No more
Jay
wire
makes-
hangers.
Yeah, she was a good actress.
Jay
so
makes it-
therefore, it's yeah.
Jay makes a very good point. There are a lot of people in our society, I believe. It's a hidden part of our society that are effective business people and can get along with people diplomatically during the day to get their way, to be good business people, good supervisors. But when they close that door and they walk in the house, they become a martinet. They're in control, they're the boss, you do what they say. And this seems like this kind of guy. I'm not going to say he's a bad judge. I think he's a bad human, but he may not be a bad judge. But when he got inside that house, I find his behavior just despicable.
But here's the thing. This was the first time that anyone ever realized that this was going on. I mean, if she's being hit, she's at school. There's no one that notices anything, no neighbors, there's nothing. And if the wife is also being mistreated, no one called out anything prior to? I don't understand how that could be then.
Well, I think there's a
That
lot
is
of
a good
unanswered
point.
questions. And again, the daughter has done herself no favors with the very overt, manipulative way that she has used this. She's even admitting, essentially, that she used it that way. She's tried to backtrack now and say, I had to wait till I was on my own and I was out from under that roof. Well, this happened when she was 16. She's now 23. It didn't take 7 years to get to the point where you could report what you believe, in fact, is a crime. So I have not a lot of sympathy for her,
Yeah,
but I cannot define this as anything but abuse.
But look, here's the deal. I mean, to me, I think the real issue is his behavior. I would have to think, even if she showed it to her friends at a party as a joke, even if she said, this is a meaningless video, I'm getting ready to destroy it, but isn't it funny? I mean, look how crazy my dad, the judge, is. And then we look at it, we see it, the real issue is his behavior.
Oh, I agree.
Not how it got published, not
I
how it got
agree.
disseminated, whether she was doing it for evil purpose, whether she thought it was funny, whether she's trying to get back at him. The whole deal is that video shouldn't exist.
because that action should not have taken
Right.
place, and it's not justified by whatever she did or didn't do. I guess my point was in the way she has come forward, it almost looks like there's no good guy here because she's up to something and she's playing a game and they're having this dispute. And if something like this happens, it seems like it'd be very cut and dried. This was wrong. This should not have happened. As soon as I can, I need to get this resolved. What if he's making decisions about other children and abuse cases? What if there are other children in the family? What if children are left in his care in the family? This isn't somebody that should be in that position.
Let me complicate it even more.
Please do.
Here's the situation. You're going to find many times that young ladies of that age will go to Child Protective Services and will say, my father is sexually molesting me. And I don't want it to happen to my little sister. I'm real concerned. I want to say something about it. When that happens, Jack, the ball starts rolling and everybody jumps in. They get counselors. They get individuals who come to protect them. Child Protective Services comes in and intervenes. They'll even take them out of the home. And they get foster parents. Imagine you're a child and you understand that happens. And you've seen it happen to girls your age. But now all of a sudden your dad is the judge.
Yeah.
I mean, he is the most powerful guy in the community. He handles these family law cases. And then the question becomes I want to protect my sister, but the catch-22 or the Hobson's choice is, look, I want to protect my sister. I don't want it to happen to me. I hate that this is happening to my mother. But he's the judge, for crying out loud.
So you hold it over him rather than come forward with it.
I'm not sure she held it over him for that.
She must have
period
at
of
some
time.
point for him to be able to threaten her. Why don't you go ahead and put it up with you?
At that time, at that very moment. But I think she's grown up now.
Yeah.
She's 23 years old, and so I think that is a calculated decision that makes her look calculated and makes her look somewhat evil. But the truth of the matter is that it's hard to say that the kind of judgment decisions she's making aren't clouded by the fact that she grew up in a family where she had to suffer this kind of abuse. And had to protect him.
I think we've given these people too much of our time. What do you
Okay.
think? I think I'd like to leave them behind. All right, when we come back, the lightning round on Gang of Four with Jimmy and Nikki and Jay. It's 5:50 KTSA into the newsroom for Karen.
It says this guy went to jail for returning to child marketing.
Middays, 9 till 1, 550 KTSA.
Gang of Four lightning round time. They don't look ready for the lightning round, but it's happening anyway. Nikki Young, Jimmy Parks, Jay Tope on the gang. This week, the Safeway supermarket chain decided to drop charges against a couple who were in their Honolulu supermarket one night, tired. They had just moved to town, a little disoriented. The woman was pregnant. They were shopping with their little 3-year-old girl. They got a sandwich out of the case and started eating it as they shopped around, intending to pay for it by scanning the wrapper at the register. They forgot, and as they were leaving the store, they were busted by the security guard. They were jailed overnight. The child was put in Child Protective Services. Now Safeway says, we probably overreacted. They've apologized to the family. What do you think?
Yeah, serious overreaction. There's not a policy in place that says, with customer service, ma'am, sir, we noticed that you hadn't paid for that. We're going to give you an opportunity to, if there's some sort of retaliation, well, then,
Right.
yeah.
I mean, if they're running out of the store, that's one thing. But if
Yeah.
you're stopping them at the door.
That's way overreacting. Oh, my gosh. It was seriously, it was an oversight. If they paid for their other groceries, why would they steal only a sandwich?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's 2 sandwiches for $5.
Nikki could be a lawyer.
yeah.
Did you just hear all that?
Oh, that was good. That was excellent. But my comment is that the Safeway security is just a little below FBI agents. They're not real qualified. I think they will not hire you.
Say they have a USA Today and a flashlight.
If you get a high school degree, you're overqualified for Safeway security.
Rough on the security guards.
Enough said.
In an interview this week on 60 Minutes, Mrs. Madoff, Ruth Madoff, talks about Ruth Madoff talked to Morley Safer about the family. Morley, get a little closer to me here. And she says, among many things, that neither she nor anyone else, the sons, no one had any inkling of what Bernie was up to. Do you believe that?
No, she had to have. There's no way, because if she was...
Don't men sometimes not talk about their work with their wives?
Sometimes, but I think that she was very in tune to it, because I think that if you look at all of their clients, they're mostly her friends. So you mean to tell me that she didn't know what was going on? She was the whole... the voice of the business. She was the one going out, mixing, mingling, and encouraging people to invest their money. No, she knew exactly what was going on. Now this is just part of their thing, and their whole like, oh, we were gonna commit suicide. No, you knew exactly.
Say they tried to commit suicide by taking Ambien.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like a very unserious attempt. They had a good night's sleep.
A
That
leave
wasn't
might
that
have
bad.
been a little more effective.
Hey, the other side of that, though, and I don't disagree with Nikki, but I just make a point personally that Liz and I got married right out of high school, and she still doesn't know what I do for a living.
None
None of us do, when you get right down to it, Jimmy. None of us are exactly sure.
But I think it's
But whatever it is, you do it well.
you do. I think it's terrible what happened to the son. I mean, I don't think the kids knew. I really don't think the kids knew. But I do think that she knew. I do think she did.
She's devastated now, though, let me tell you. All right, we talked about it this week. Remember when, walk with me down memory lane here. Remember when the Christmas season began after Thanksgiving?
Yes.
Remember that?
Oh my gosh, this is a huge pet peeve of mine.
Now it starts before Halloween. I'm thinking, what's next, Labor Day?
No, it was Labor Day this year. I have evidence of it on my phone.
What is up?
I am so livid. That is
But
my
now-
huge pet peeve. Oh my
But now,
gosh.
you like Christmas?
I like
Okay, I love Christmas.
I love Christmas, but I need my birthday to come first, and you are overtaking my birthday.
So this is about you.
Ah, well, I am a
I knew
PrimaDonna.
that.
No,
Yes.
this is crazy. Have you seen the documentary What Would Jesus Buy? Morgan Spurlock?
I have not seen it.
You need to see that. This explains everything. I understand commerce. I do. I'm a business
You're a
person.
businesswoman? Sure.
I am. I get that. I'm a PR person. I know how that all works. But we can't, wait, please? I mean, come on. Oh my gosh. Is a massive pet peeve. I was scared on November 1st when I turned the radio on. I was scared I was going to hear Christmas music. Not that I don't love, I love Christmas music, but I'm not ready for it. Give me a break, people. This does not need to happen that soon. Commercialism, I get it, but can we wait? I mean, the Halloween decorations were already 50% off on October 25th. I noted it, and they were already putting out Christmas decorations. I'm so livid.
Jay, can you restrain her? I don't want to come around that side of the table.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, but I'm
I have a
afraid there
picture on
might
my
be a
phone.
confidentiality agreement that
Yeah.
I'll find out about next time I run for office.
October 14th, I
does
have
it
it on my phone.
does it sound like bah humbug? Like, hey, if you like Christmas, why not have more of it? Does anybody think that?
No, it just makes it less special when you
That's
extend
right.
the Christmas season. And I've tried to tell my daughter will listen to Christmas music in May. And I tell her, I said, it makes it less special when it is the Christmas time, because then what's to differentiate, when you hear a Christmas song, it could be any time of the year. It just makes it less special.
That's right. That's it. Makes
Yes.
it less special, and it takes away from my birthday.
And it makes me feel less special when Nikki's having such problems with it.
When is your birthday, Nikki?
September 16th, and
All right, so
they were-
after that,
Oh, no, wait a minute, because mine's the 19th of September. So
all right,
we got
so if we start after that, then you
When
wouldn't
is yours,
mind.
Jimmy?
Is it the same every year?
No, I change it every year, depending on what day of the week it is.
No, I mean, I'm pretty much offended by all of this because mine's December 18th, and I'm thinking, hey, you have
Yeah,
nothing
no.
to complain about.
Oh, okay.
Hey, what's wrong? You're whiners.
All right.
Both of you are nothing but whiners.
I just think that needs
I'm
to
December
have.
18th. I don't even get gifts.
What happened to the 25 days of
wrong with you?
Christmas?
I thought it was the 12th.
All right, well,
12 days of Christmas.
we're out of time, so I just want to say Merry Christmas, Nikki.
Now you've done it.
And Jay Tope and Jimmy Parks, thank you so much. Good
Thank you,
job
Jay.
today.
Thank you.
We've
Yes.
said a lot. I don't know if we've solved anything.
One thing.
Sure.
Come see the Love List, my show. Please
Yes.
come see my
Yes.
show.
Where is that?
It's at the Cameo. It plays this starting tonight. Well, it's been playing, but it's tonight, and it goes all the way through November 27th. It's not a Christmas show, but it's a good show. It's about the perfect woman.
All right. And Jay Tope, sasports.com and radio.com.
RadioSanAntonio.com.
And look for Jimmy Parks in a courtroom near you.
Yeah, I'm getting a little more chlorine for the gene pool. We're going to clean this family up.
All right. And the podcast goes up this afternoon. The video podcast for Gang of Four will be next week. It's 11:36 on the News and Talk of San Antonio, 550 KTSA. Jack Riccardi Show.